Good day to you, brothers and sisters. Wherever this broadcast is being received, whatever part of the world you find yourself at, good day to you. I should say good moment to you, because life is nothing but a bunch of moments, but let's stick with good day to you. We're back again with another healing message. Why are we referring to this as healing? I'm referring to this as healing because, brothers and sisters, this whole process of us versus them, dark versus light, chosen versus not chosen, it's proven itself to be irrelevant to me. The way I see it, humanity as a whole is undergoing this drastic reboot in their evolution. They're undergoing this drastic process of healing that their consciousness are in dire need of. And some of us, we have just cut hold of that call and decided to follow that inner call as opposed to being led by the external world and what we have come to know. Bear with the noise. I wish I picked a quieter space, but this is where we're going to do this. So excuse the noise that you're going to hear in the background. Now, as I was saying, this healing that humanity is currently experiencing, this message is simply to be a part of their medicine. Letting go of that whole mindset of light versus dark, us versus them. You see things a little bit better, because now the goal is to simply guide those that are ready to be healed, guide those that are ready to understand what we as a collective have for a long time ignored, our wounds, the very things that are ailing us as a whole. Humanity have just tucked it underneath the rug and decided to leave it for the next generation. And when the next generation came, they peeped what was going on as far as the wound. They decided, well, I'm not going to heal it. Let me leave it for the next generation. And so that process of bearing witness to the problem that humanity as a whole face and not choosing to deal with it, but rather leaving it for the next generation or the oncoming generation to deal with, has led us to a state where humanity's consciousness is wounded, is fractured, separated from itself. So again, this message is to simply help guide the consciousness back into a whole. What am I referring to when I speak of some of this wound? I mean, there are many aspects of humanity's consciousness that different expression of source has been placed in charge of simply speaking on these topics, and by speaking on it, bringing awareness to the collective, in order that individually and collectively we could all heal. And so This medicine that is to be provided within this message is simply going to be about manipulators. The manipulation of the human consciousness from one individual onto another, from an organization against a specific mass or group of people. These manipulative tactics that have been long used as weapons against those that they seek to shape and mold their thought processes is what we're going to be discussing in this message. To begin with, here's what I'm going to bring to your attention today. A book that is titled The 48 Laws of Power. If you're watching this, if you're on my vibration and my frequency, there is a 99.99% chance that book have crossed your awareness somewhere. Either someone told you about it, or it crossed your news feed, or it just magically appeared before you. 48 Laws of Power. Now this message right here, brothers and sisters, it's been a long time coming, because it came to me a long time ago, but again, not having the right place to deliver these messages. I simply put it in the back burner. But now that, as I said, the opportunity has presented itself for me to at least speak on the surface level on some of these topics, I would just do that until I'm actually able to get into the nitty-gritty of these topics. So for now, the 48 Laws of Power. Let me ask you this. For those of you that are aware of this book, when it crossed your path, when it came along your journey, when you heard about this book, what was your reason for reading it? What was your reason for being interested in this book? Was it one, to gain power over others? To gain power over yourself? To just be in a position of power? I mean, when you hear 48 Laws of Power, most people that are drawn to such a title, honestly, one can easily conclude that, well, they would like to be in a position of power. Hopefully it's power over themselves. But that book, personally, it did not reveal to me that its purpose was to give you power over yourself. Here is my experience with the 48 Laws of Power. When my journey back to self first begun, there were many information that was crossing my path in podcasts, in books, in just channel messages that just came from beyond, where it's like, bro, you just know what the fuck you know. You don't know why you know what the fuck it is that you know. This book was one of them. When it first came across my awareness, I looked at it, I'm sitting here like, 48 Laws of Power? I don't care about this shit. The fuck I need power for? I'm good. I'm perfectly content as I am within myself. I don't need power over anybody. I don't need power over anything. I don't need power over any place. So this book honestly does not interest me. And I left it at that. And truth be told, the more I thought about it, I kind of concluded without reading the book that if this book is about 48 Laws of Power, it's a good chance that it is a book that is about manipulation, the manipulation of others. And that right there in and of itself, it turned me off completely because I'm not interested in shit like that. And as I said, I left it alone. I ignored the book for a very, very long time, and I focused on other things, other information that was relevant, that was important. Looking back, that book was just as relevant as all the other information that I was receiving. But again, due to my whole mindset of I need not manipulate anyone to gain their trust, to gain their respect, to gain their love, to gain anything from a person. I don't need to manipulate you. I just need to be myself, truthful, upfront, authentic, period. So now, leaving that whole book and going months, years past, down the line, the 48 Laws of Power crossed my path again. There was this young man that I worked with. He suggested to me, we was talking about various information that we have come across, and he brought up the 48 Laws of Power. And as I've just said, I told him, I mean, yeah, the book crossed my path, but I had no interest in reading it because I don't need power over anybody. I'm good. So the information that was in there, I felt it was irrelevant. He said, I see your point. And he like, well, for me, it was a good book because it revealed a lot to me. And he shared with me some of what was revealed. I'm like, all right, cool. And I left it at that. And let's just say some of the things that was revealed, it was like, bro, this book is teaching me how to literally move within the reality and how to function around others and be in a position of power, as I suspected all along. So I'm like, all right, cool. Again, I left it at that. Didn't care to look into the book at all. But then as more time passed, the book kept coming up over and over in my mind, 48 Laws of Power. And so one day I sat with the thought. I'm like, all right, since this book keeps coming up over and over, why is it keep coming up? Because again, the information that is within it, I have suspected on an intuitive level that it is to guide me or teach me how to manipulate others to move according to my will. And I don't like that. I don't want that. I'm not interested in any information as such. And so as I sat with that thought, another thought crossed my mind where it was like, all right, Unique, the purpose of this book, you suspect that it is to teach you how to manipulate others. But what if you were to read the information within the book or gain the knowledge from within the book and learn how others have been manipulating you? Learn how others have been using that very information to mislead you, to fuck with your head, fuck with your mind, to fuck with your emotion, to fuck with your spirit. Learn how the enemy work. And when I say enemy, there is really no enemy, but ultimately if somebody outside of myself is using information directed at me to misguide me, one can perceive that individual to be an enemy. So learn the inner workings of the enemy. And when that thought crossed my mind, it was at that moment I cut it all along. I'm like, fuck. You're right. You're absolutely right. Rather than looking at this from the perspective of this book holds information within it that could be used to misguide unsuspecting soul, how about, being that I have been the victim of countless manipulative predators, How about I learn how they work? How about I learn how I have been manipulated all along? I mean, I consider myself to be a self-aware individual. From youth, I have been self-aware, but ultimately there are people within this reality that just knows the inner working of the human being, of the human mind, more than others. And me being a student of life, the more and more that I learn, the more and more I realize I don't know shit, which is awesome because this process of learning is never ending. And as I've stated in other videos, I'm just addicted now to just knowledge and wisdom and just expanding my awareness to just shit that I did not know. And so, as I've stated, as soon as that revelation hit me, learn how the enemy has been fucking with your mind. I went ahead. Oh, come on. Ah, fuck. I went ahead and followed through and read the book. And my intuition, my suspicion of the book was just spot on. Word for word, teaching the reader of the words laden within that book how to manipulate others to get what they want. 48 laws of power. Step by step. If you want to get from point A to point B, if you want to get from a powerless position to a powerful position, here is how you do it. Follow these laws and you will be in a position of power over others. And what are the laws? Simply manipulate others to your will. Play games with them. Say yes when you don't want to say yes. Well, one of the laws in that motherfucker is this right here. It says, never outshine the boss or the leader. The reason why that law in that book struck out to me, that I literally just memorized it from the moment I read it, because, bro, I said it before time and time again. There are some people in this world where their light is just so bright that even they themselves can't see their own light. Okay? And so they go places not realizing what they are, who they are. They move a certain way, and next thing you know, the whole environment hates them. Now, I say that because I'm the type of individual where almost every environment I have been in, I just seem to attract negativity from others. For whatever the reason, well, recently I discovered that apparently there is an anointing on my life. So when there's an anointing on your life and other people see it and you don't see it, it bothers their spirit. If you go down on my Facebook news feed, you will see the video that I tagged myself in, or that I shared, and the guy was talking about you trigger people's spirit or whatever. Just go on there, you'll check it out. For me, that was a revelation, because I always wondered, why is it when I go into a space, I have pure intention to simply do what is asked of me in that space, especially if it's a space that is outside of my control. I mean, in my home, that's a space enough where I say I have control over here, so I get to do what I want. But when I'm outside, let's say if I'm at work, if I'm dealing with other people and shit like that, I carry myself in a way where it's like, okay, I'm respecting this person's rules, I'm respecting their boundaries and shit like that. Long story short, I mind my business and stay to myself. But by doing this, I'm still hated. I'm still projected upon. People still got problems with me, and one thing leads to another. My ass is out the door. When I was unaware of what was taking place, most of the time I would just get terminated But now that I'm aware, nowadays I just walk away because I would much rather choose my peace over being in a space that is chaotic. Now, back to the whole law that I spoke of. Never outshine the boss or the leader. As I was saying, some of us within the collective here, we are completely oblivious to this whole idea of don't outshine the boss. You go somewhere, you have a certain responsibility. You're just being yourself. You ain't thinking about competing with nobody. You ain't worried about nobody. You just have a responsibility, and your only goal is, let me accomplish my responsibility as best of my abilities. And from what I've come to discover from my own experience, just by doing this, I've been outshining the leader, the boss, the whoever that's in charge, whoever that has this ego perception where when you come in my space, you need to shrink, you need to bow down, just like everybody else. You need to play along to get along. When these niggas peep that you don't play along to get along, that you really don't give a fuck, that you really don't give a fuck about their bullshit, their sickness, their illness, their ego, you become a problem. You become a problem. It is said that people hate you when they cannot manipulate you. This is true. When a person cannot get over on you, you become a problem because, everybody else, they could easily just say a certain word here, do a little thing here, and next thing you know, these niggas, they're following in a straight line, doing as they're told. No, they're not questioning shit. Even if they're being misled and misguided down a path that does not serve them, they still follow this egotistical fuck nigga that is using these 48 laws of power to fuck with them. Prior to doing this message, I probably should have just scanned over the book one last time just to gain a little bit more insight, because it's been a while since I read the book. But as I said, that one law, it just stuck with me. Like, don't outshine the boss. Like, what the fuck? There are people within the collective that literally have dumbed down themselves just to fit in the box of these fuck niggas that considers themselves leaders and bosses. Why? Because they're all playing these games with one another. What are the games? These laws. Many people have read this book. People in position of power, as I've come to discover. This book is a popular book, bro. This book is a very popular book. A lot of people have read it. And all of them have structured their life on the foundation that are these laws. And they move accordingly. Playing mind games with this person to get what they want. Mind games with this person to go where they're trying to go. In fact, I'm going to just play this game with you to get what I want, and once I get what I want, you're trash to me. I'm moving on to the next victim. I'm moving on to my next target. I'm moving on to my next prey. Because that's just what they're doing. They're predators. They have this predator mindset where human beings or others within the collective, the masses, are just pawns to be used according to their laws. I highly recommend you check out this book. Now, in the beginning, I asked you, when this book crossed your path, what was your reason for inquiring as to the information that is within the book? Was it to gain power over others, or is it to protect yourself from these sick individuals? I refer to them as sick now because, truth be told, bro, a happy, healed human being has no desire to cause harm to anybody mentally, spiritually, emotionally, or physically. Happy, healed human beings, they want nothing but to share their happiness, their joy with others. They want others to feel as they do because they have tasted the nectar that is peace and happiness. Why would you come from a place of peace, happiness, joy, and love to a place of fear, chaos, and try to now give that to others? It does not compute. It makes no sense. A high vibrational person will never come down to a low vibration to manipulate others. If such a person considers themselves to be high vibrational, they are not. They are. Bro, this message is something. This message is something because this motherfucking door just did some shit that you would never imagine. This motherfucking door was locked. Excuse me. Bro, this motherfucking door was locked. There is no way that door could have opened by itself, but it just went, the shit just blew wide open. But then again, I'm aware of just the amount of power that these words hold. They hold within it the ability to, as I stated, provide to the individual the healing that they need in order that they may stop functioning from this low vibrational state. The current matrix that have been created, brothers and sisters, it has been created on a low vibrational frequency wherein when a human being vibrates at that frequency, the matrix or these entities that have created this matrix, they feed off of that low vibration. So by keeping you in that low vibration, you are literally food for these entities. And these messages these messages that I and others such as myself are within the collective diligently putting out daily, or whenever they put it out, it provides the healing to get the human being, the person, from this low vibrational state to the high vibration, which is love, taking them from fear, bringing them up to love. And those that have constructed this matrix of fear, who have for eons reaped the benefits off of feeding off of the fear that is emanating off of you, do not want you to rise up to fear. Do not want you to rise up to love. And so stupid shit like that happens, where it's like, I'm somewhere locked up in a low space with the doors closed, but then the motherfucker just fly wide open to do what? To distract the messenger from delivering the message, which by now these motherfuckers don't realize, bro, your time is up. You stupid little child. Time and time again, I have told you, your time is up. You were given a certain length of time to wreak havoc within this physical reality. That time is up. You can either check out easily. You could check out on your own will. Just willingly decide, okay, my time is up. Let me move on to the next dense reality, dense dimension, and continue my fear tactics. Or you can keep trying to stop the unstoppable. You can keep trying to stop the inevitable end to your rule, because your time is up. You cannot stop what has already been ordained by the Creator itself. For this length of time, you were allowed to wreak havoc, fear, and sow chaos within the reality. You was allowed to keep the human awareness at this level. For whatever the reason, you don't know. The Creator knew. And if I just had to sprinkle a little bit of salt on that whole, like trying to give you a reason as to why you was allowed to, I would simply say, just from my understanding, you was allowed to create that dimension of fear and maintain it for as long as you did, in order that you may teach in order that you may be the tool that these human beings will one day realize. No, you will be the tool that will be used to guide the human being to become aware of their power. If I had to give you an answer as to why your rule was allowed to take place for as long as it did, you was a tool to be used to guide the human beings to their ultimate power, their ultimate greatness. And so now the time has come for you to relinquish that rule, but like a stubborn little child, you're holding on for dear life. No, I cannot let them go. I cannot let them go. Why? Because I love the power over them. I love the fact that these beings are so powerful, but they are completely unaware of their power. And until they become aware, I'm going to create through them by manipulating them, using these 48 laws of power. Now, truth be told, there are many, many other books that speak on that topic, the same thing that is the 48 laws of power. There are many other books that I have come across. And it is sickening to know that somebody will come across a book, read it, and then take in the information and then go out and use that information on others that are just like themselves. But again, functioning from a place of fear, one does not give no fucks about the consequences of their action. Functioning from a place of no self-awareness, one is able to simply do these things and not give a fuck, because no self-awareness leads to no accountability. And there are many for a long time within the reality have no self-awareness, so they cannot hold themselves accountable for how they make people feel, for how they treat people, because like everybody else within the collective, we're all doing this shit to everybody else. We're all treating everybody the same way. Let's go with the whole parents and child upbringing. A parent had a child. How that parent treated them, they're going to treat their child the exact same way. Until that parent gains a level of self-awareness. Bear with me, I'm a little freezing back here, but let's continue. The temperature is a little bit interesting, and my time is almost up. But yeah, until the parent gains some level of self-awareness and realize that some of the programming that they received from their parents when they was growing up was wrong, and they don't want to pass it down to their children, that parent is going to repeat the same programming system into their child. They're going to repeat the same process. If a parent was brought up without their parents showing them how to give love and how to receive love, they're not going to pass that down to their child. If a parent did not put within their child how to stand up for themselves, they're not going to pass that down to their child. Pretty much whatever programming your parents had, that's what is in you. And what is in you is what you're going to put into your child. Until you make the decision to look at your programming and decide, this is good, this is bad, this is bad, this is good, I'm going to get rid of the bad and put in good. Even though I don't have no blueprint or foundation of this within me, I'm now going to go and find information that is going to help anchor this new program within me, in order that I may provide good seeds for my offspring. People like this, you refer to them as generational curse breaker, generational cycle breaker. From one generation on to the next, many within the collective has just been on this repeating cycle. Each new generation doing the same shit. If I was manipulated as a child, I'm going to grow up manipulating my child, and my child is going to grow up manipulating their child. And then from one generation on to the next, you just have a bunch of manipulators manipulating each other, learning the best way to manipulate the next generation. You're teaching me how to be a manipulator. Okay, I got that. And now this 48 laws of power I have gotten have put me in an awesome position to learn how to be an even better manipulator of my child. And now when they come through and I install within them all this manipulative tactics, they're going to take it and then they're going to become even better at it and then pass it on. And now you live in a society of nothing but a bunch of manipulators. Manipulating each other. Hence the reason why I refer to this message as it ain't us versus them. It ain't light versus dark. This is a message of healing. Healing because you have a society that consists of nothing but manipulators. Manipulating each other. Using dark psychology. See, I didn't even know that such a thing existed. I'm somebody who loves the mind. I love the inner workings of the human mind. I love to try to figure out why people do the things that they do, and realizing that the label to such an individual has been termed psychologist, and then the whole process of this is known as psychology. I didn't even know that there is another side to psychology known as dark psychology. A light psychology, dark psychology. Dark psychology is the individual being manipulated by another using tactics as gaslighting, love bombing, what else they got? Triangulation. Look, I ain't got time to bring up all of those shit, but the more I look into this whole process of manipulation, the more I sit with the information to learn how others have been trying to fuck with me. The more I learn of myself, the more I learn of the tactics that have been used, the more I understand, oh, okay, so you're trying to gaslight me. You're trying to fuck with my reality. You're trying to fuck with my mind. And if there's one thing that I despise, it's a motherfucker trying to get me to question myself. That is the most... If you ever won my wrath, and wrath, I'm talking in terms of spirit, because I wage war in spirit. Spirit fights on my behalf. If you ever want me to literally get to that point within my evolution, to go to source and say, handle that, Father. This motherfucker really dumb enough to actually try to think they can get me to question my mind, get me to question myself. Oh, fuck no. Handle that. It ain't no joke out here, brothers and sisters. Sick people affecting the new generation is the reason why our society is in the very predicament we find ourselves. But fortunately enough, times is changing. As I've said, the end time is here for all those that have thrived in that dense reality of fear, that dense reality of manipulative tactics, of lies. The time has come. their reign is over. Every soul within the reality is in one of two worlds. One world where they are realizing who they are, the power that they hold within themselves and over their reality, their willpower to say, no, I no longer want this. I no longer want to allow this fuck nigga or this childish little bitch to fuck around, think they can play mind games with me, to toy with my emotions, to toy with my spirit. I no longer am willing to settle for less than what I deserve. And in the other, you have those who thrive in that whole, I'm going to manipulate this wonderful human being right here that consists of love, that is creative, that makes something out of nothing. I'm going to make them feel less than, and then I'm going to feed off of their energy. I'm going to gaslight the fuck out of them. I'm going to fuck with their mind. I'm going to destroy their spirit, and ultimately making them just like me, heartless. These are the ones that thrive in that dense reality of fear. These are the ones that are still holding on to that power over others. They don't want to let it go. Why? Because power over others, they have convinced themselves is where it's at. These guys have power over self. One wants power over others, the other wants power over themselves. One wants to rule through manipulation, lies, and fear. The other one wants to simply live in peace, wisdom, and knowledge and self-awareness. If you're watching my video, you are part of this group that wants nothing but peace, love, self-awareness, and wisdom. You're tired of settling for this fuck motherfucker right here that tells you this and does the complete opposite. The nigga action don't line up with what the fuck he got going on. The bitch action ain't lining up with what the fuck she's saying. You at one point believe what they said. Baby, I'm good for it. Trust me. I'm gonna handle it. You took them for their word. And what they do, they fucked you over, disappointed you. And truth be told, you were the kind of individual who knew the truth. You could see the truth of the character before you. Your sixth sense told you, don't fuck with that person. That person, they got ill intention. They ain't good for you. But yet you saw the good in them. You saw you in them. The goodness that was yourself. You saw it in them. You projected your goodness into them. You saw the best in them that they cannot see in themselves. And you held on to their wishful words of change, of, baby, I'm gonna do better. But now that you have awakened and realized that a person's action is more important than their words, you're starting to see that all the shit that these people saying, fuck them. Now you're believing in yourself. You literally listening to that sixth sense that tells you when you're around an individual, don't fuck with that. That's a mask they got on. You could see you could see through the mask. They ain't even got on mask no more, because now you see the person that is behind the flesh. Big difference. You see the person behind the flesh. You see the actual spirit. So now ain't no fooling you. Now, from the outside looking in, they say you antisocial. From the inside looking out, you selective social, because you have discovered the divine essence that is your energy. The fact that you are literally a blessing in the life of anyone that cross your path. Now you have taken charge and realizing no longer would I literally squander my divine essence on swines. No longer would I waste my energy on fools. No longer would I tolerate the lies. Brothers and sisters, I hate to end it here because I'm not even done, but take this for now, all right? Deuce. Unique, the Godfather of Consciousness out here. I have to get back to handling business. Have a great day till we next pick up on this topic, because this ain't even close to being done.